Hello and welcome back to the Final Whistle podcast. My name is Harry and I'm joined by Adam today. Bob's at work, so couldn't join us. So we thought, as we were trying to struggle to come up with a topic, we thought, as it's just us, we'll talk about Liverpool, which I think Adam definitely preferred to talking about West Ham.
Yeah,
Adam,
yeah,
how
he
are
did.
you?
I'm very good. Well, besides the recent performance against West Ham, but other than that, I am doing very well.
Good. So we'll start by looking at overall Liverpool, fourth in the league behind West Ham, Man City, and Chelsea, who are top of the league. 4 points separate first place and fourth place. How happy are you with the start to the season so far?
Um, well, I was very happy the way the season started. Obviously undefeated. Um, we weren't conceding many goals either. And then obviously we played United the other week, won 5-0 against them, one of our biggest rivals in history. Loving life as a Liverpool fan. The game against West Ham, obviously very unlucky. Probably should have played better, scored a couple more, but you can't win them all. But yeah, I think the season overall has done very well. I think obviously Champions League football again this season as well will be for us, and next season I mean like qualifying. But I think overall we're going to do very well this season.
Do you think, obviously, it's going to be a tough one? No one's run away with it just yet. Everyone seemed to have slipped up at the top so far. Do you see yourselves as likely to win the league this year? Because Chelsea are looking very good.
I think we have definitely like potential to win the season. Like playing how we did at the beginning of the season, like not losing, playing very well. But I think like if we play like we are now, we're gonna get a good chance. But I think if we play better, then we have obviously like a higher chance because that's how it works. But like if we play the same as we are, then Chelsea will probably just take it away from us. So we need to improve our game a little bit more. But how do we do that?
It's like
Yeah,
when Michael Owen said, if you score more goals, then you'll win
yeah,
matches.
yeah.
So
That's happened a couple of times now.
so last weekend we saw West Ham triumph 3-2 win at the London Stadium.
That's David Moyes' first win against Liverpool in so long. It's on. I think it was like 13 years or something like that. Might be that.
He's
I
doing a good
can't remember
job,
what
to
the
be fair. So,
Yeah, he did. He is.
what were your
I mean,
thoughts
to
on the
be
game?
third, 100%. Well, I couldn't see it on a big screen, so I was watching it on my phone. Obviously, as a Liverpool fan, I will say that the first thing was a foul, but like, was it actually? I don't know
No,
because I couldn't see it very clearly. So
no.
that's what I'm gonna say. It probably wasn't a foul to be fair, but I think we didn't play terrible. We didn't play amazing. Like obviously, we could have played better. But West Ham, they've been unbelievable this season. So, did they deserve it? Am I salty about it? Absolutely. But when we play them at Anfield, we're just going to have to give them.
Were your thoughts on Origi? Because he scored a really good goal, to be fair, to bring it back a little bit after Allison decided to make multiple mistakes and then try and claim them as fouls. But what are your thoughts on Origi? Because I think he splits the fan base a little bit of some that think he's just a waste of space. And obviously, he did those Champions League moments for you. But what do you think of him?
Personally, I think he's a great player. I think he needs to go somewhere else though. I love him at Liverpool. Don't get me wrong, he's a great player, but if he wants minutes, he needs to go elsewhere because we've got two strikers now. I think obviously if we had Bobby, he probably would have come on, or he'd have started, and Jota would have come on for a replacement. But he doesn't get near enough game time as he deserves, so I feel like he should go elsewhere. Yeah, he's done very good moments in Champions League football in the Champions League, like against Barcelona, but I just feel like he should. Like he's not like I've seen on Instagram and stuff like people say he's world class and like I just think sorry what
Yeah.
he's not world class. He's a great player, but I think he needs to go elsewhere.
Yeah, I think
personally,
he's a strange one. You've got very little attacking depth, so you can't really afford at the moment to let him go somewhere.
yeah,
But he's not. He's probably better placed at a club like that's the same level as like 6th to 10th in the Premier League, where he's actually going to probably start and get some games. But
like Aston Villa or Leicester, like
someone like that.
Leicester
But I could see him going abroad if you're going to sell him anywhere.
Yeah.
Obviously you've got the attack of Salah, who on top of his game at the moment.
He is one of the best football players in the world right now, I'd say.
Do you think he is the best at the moment?
I'm not going to say he's the best purely because I don't watch other league football. Like, for all I know, Lewandowski could be performing so much better, but I wouldn't know due to the fact that I don't watch like the Bundesliga. So, but from what I've seen in the Premier League, I'd say he's the best right now.
Yeah, I
But if
think
to go elsewhere, I couldn't comment on that because it just wouldn't be fair.
I think when people are comparing, like obviously Messi and Ronaldo, I think he's doing better than both of them. I'd say at the moment, Messi.
At the moment, 100%. But like, obviously, overall, definitely not.
He's aging like obviously the rest of your attacking line. I mean, and like all the other players in your squad, because that's how age works. Is it time, do you think, to invest in some younger attackers and to because otherwise at the moment what's happening with your squad is you've got a really good squad, but they're all getting
They're all
quite
getting
old.
old. Yeah, like
And you don't want to have to
27-ish.
change the team all at once because that's what's happened to Barcelona and it's gone
Yeah.
horrendously. So do you think it's
Oh
time to
yeah,
maybe integrate the youngsters?
I've seen that. I saw like because on the transfer window we needed to make a few like for transfers, but we didn't. We made one, and like we sold a couple players. But like we need to invest in more players, like you said, youngsters, because all our players they're getting old. The contracts are going to expire, and they're all expiring around like 2020, what 6 I think it is 2025, and then like when that happens, we're gonna have no players, and we're gonna like fall off, and when like you said, it happens to what happened with Barcelona, and that is the least that's what we don't want.
I mean, we saw Jota come in. I think it was last season he came in, and has fit him really well. And I think maybe get another player like him, because obviously you don't want to overwhelm the squad by having these young players who are not going to play. Like Minamino's happened.
Yeah,
I think maybe also you've got Harvey Elliott, so when he's back from injury, give him a while, he'll be good for you.
he's a great player. Yeah.
But I think you need to invest in some, even not just the attacking line. The whole squad really needs a bit of a.
Yeah, we got a couple centre backs. Obviously we've got our goalkeepers sorted. We've got like 6 goalkeepers. It's ridiculous. We got Harvey Elliott who can play like midfield and right wing, so we kind of sorted with that. But obviously, like we need backup like in case he gets injured.
I think you need to look at the midfield because I think you're missing. I don't. You might agree or you might disagree. You're missing Wijnaldum.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. I think we need another player like Wijnaldum. Yeah, 100%.
Because do you think you need more midfielders? Do you think that's the focus, or do you think like Keita, he's done all right, but
we shouldn't need more midfield because we have plenty of midfielders in the first place. But because apparently our team can't seem to stay fit, we then need midfielders because like we have Keita, Thiago, Milner, Fabinho, Henderson, Chamberlain. That's 6 so far, and we play 3. So we got that's like 6 plus Harvey Elliott, Curtis Jones. That's 8, right? I can think off the top of my head. That's 8 midfielders we have, and we're struggling to keep 3 half the time. Sometimes we can keep 4 if we're lucky, but like that's like half of a midfield out all at one time. It's like we shouldn't need midfielders, but we do because they just don't stay fit.
And I mentioned him before, Minamino, the transfer. Obviously, at the time he was doing brilliant things at Salzburg. Got a few against you, I think, or goals or assists.
Yeah, he did, yeah.
What are your thoughts on that transfer? Because do you think he's either just not been given a chance, or do you think he's not really at the level that people thought?
I think he was, not at the level that people thought he was at. He's not a bad player at all, but I just don't think. I think he's a bit like Origi. Like he's not going to start for us at all, really. I doubt he's going to be a backup at any point because Harvey Elliott's like obviously he's shining now, or was before he got injured. I just feel like there were just better players than him that we could have had. And I just feel like he's better off like going to Southampton and staying there. He did wonders for them, and I just feel like they can, being have the good chemistry that Liverpool and Southampton do have with transfers. I think he could fit in there.
And obviously, the one player you did bring in the summer, Kanate, hasn't really maybe played as often as people thought he was going to be doing. What are your thoughts on him and how successful do you think the transfer's been so far?
Well, it's not been really successful at all. He's played, from what I can think of, like 3 or 4 games at most. He started, I think, once, maybe twice against like some like random club in like qualifiers or whatever, or the FA Cup. He hasn't done much really. he's not like, from what I've seen, he's not a bad player. Like on paper, he's a lot like Van Dijk, but obviously he's not as experienced as Van Dijk is. And I just feel like Matip is just always going to start like 9 times out of 10 over him. And if Matip doesn't start, it's probably going to be Gomez. So I feel like he should be given a chance, but I think that'll come over the season, if not next season as well.
The next game, and you've got a few average games coming up which you can pick up points. You got Arsenal next though. Unfortunately, they're in good form.
Yeah,
if you talk to Bob, you'd know that.
I would just look on the group chat. We'd know.
Yeah. How much of a challenge do you think they're going to be for you guys?
If we played the same as last week, a bit of a problem. If we play like we had at the beginning of the season, I think we could do okay. But if we played against like we did against United, also we're going to smash them out of the park. We played very well against United. But I think it's going to be a close game. But obviously, it's going to be after international break, which is happening now. So hopefully Lennon's back in goal, because apparently Ramsdale's the best keeper in the world at the moment.
Oh, obviously, definitely, yeah.
But yeah, no, I think we have a good chance of beating them. If we're unlucky and play terrible, we'll probably get a draw or like scrape a draw. But I think we should get the win. Easy 3 points.
Obviously, a loss could see you out the top 4. So you're definitely going to have to pick up something. If you don't get a win here, I think that's going to be pivotal if you're going to try and go for the league, because you need to win games like that.
Yeah, because I think now coming up to Christmas, I think if we're not in the if we're not in top 4 at the end of the year, I think then we're going to aim for. I think what we're aiming for is Champions League football instead of trying to get the league, because by that point we're kind of just out of it now. But that's the first loss, so we should be okay. But against West Ham, but I think we can still race for the title whether we lose to them or not.
If theoretically, let's say you do lose and by New Year you're not in the top 4, that would be another season where you're not up there for the league like you were obviously the year you won it. Do you think that would be concerning for the board, that you're seeing the club have won the league and are now struggling to be back where they were at that level?
I think so, because I think what the board are thinking is, we won the league with this team, let's keep it as similar as possible and not change it at all. Well, that's not how it works. You win the league, other teams like Man City, who came in a close second, are going to think, actually, let's see what they were doing to counter that, and we haven't changed anything up. So Man City are flying, Chelsea are flying. Honestly, Thomas Tuchel, he's doing an amazing job at Chelsea as well. And Jurgen Klopp, he's a great manager, but he's not getting the players he needs to improve the squad, because if you keep it the same, nothing's going to improve. And other teams are improving and spending money, getting all these good players, whilst we're sat here doing nothing. And yeah, I think we need to improve our squad if we want to stay in the top 4.
If you have to improve the squad, because some players just aging a bit and you can see it. Who do you take out of that team then to say we need a replacement here? Who would you pick out and say they're looking a bit rusty or a bit weak?
I'd say I think we need to improve our midfield a bit. Fabinho, he's very good. Don't get me wrong. Would I want a better CDM? I don't know. He's a very good player though. Henderson's getting not as good as he used to be anymore. He's very good. On the ball, he's not as good as he used to be. But obviously being the captain, he's still very good at what he does. And I think Thiago, he's not as good as I think he was very overhyped as a signing for us. He did very well at Bayern Munich. He was, right, he did very well at Bayern Munich. But when he came to us, he hasn't really done much. And obviously, him being injured as well doesn't help us. I think we just need to invest in another midfielder that's I don't know, like another Jota. People saying how it's going to be a really bad signing, but actually wasn't.
Do you think? Obviously, Salah's doing brilliantly.
Yeah.
And Firmino's actually been playing quite well when he was fit.
Yeah, he's on form. Yeah. But
do you think Mane's playing well?
He's not playing as well as he could be.
When Mane hit the
number. Pardon?
Do you think you get someone in there then as a position? Because that's You said you've got a lot of midfielders there. Some of them are young, like
Yeah,
Curtis Jones. Do you think you get in someone like that is
I
Mane's
think.
position because he doesn't have any really
I,
competition there?
yeah, I think that's the problem. I think that is the problem. Like, obviously, midfield have a competition. Both left back and right back have competition. Goalkeeper, every position has a competition. Besides, like the wingers, Salah doesn't really have competition unless you count Harvey Elliott, but not really. He's a more midfielder for us, and Mane doesn't have anyone. So I feel like he's not playing as well as he could be. Because like when he first came to the club, when he went to prove things, like when he was a number 19 for the first season, maybe two, he was impeccable. Like you couldn't get past him. He's the best player in the world, some would say. You know, like if you're ball, should be your uncle, but she doesn't, so she's not. But yeah, we need to get a left winger or two, probably just one, and like give him competition to pick up his game and do what he does best. Otherwise, we are just gonna have to like, you know, or we will just fall down because like I've said before, we're not improving the squad, and like because yeah. Sorry.
I think it's when you look at the other teams now, I think the way you guys won the league with kind of just that base squad was unique because look at all the previous title challenges and like the depth is ridiculous. Man City mainly.
Yeah, they have like two starting 11s. They could like their bench is like another starting 11, which is ridiculous.
But so did Chelsea now as well. They've got a very good B team, backup team there to take over. That obviously they're not got the strikers at the moment. But do you think that's going to be an area do you think you need to become like that and have a good backup team? Because that's not really the way Klopp plays, is it?
No, Klopp likes to stick with his like standard 11, like we've seen in the past 2 seasons, where he's not changed anything. But I feel like that's kind of like how football is at the moment, where you need like a good backup team, because like we were just saying, like yeah, if you have a good backup team, like for instance Lukaku and Werner, right? They both like are very good strikers.
Arguable.
Werner maybe not, but like obviously like it's competition, right? Lukaku's gonna try and keep playing on the top of his game to stop Werner starting over him, and like vice versa, they're gonna try and like compete with each other. Same with like I don't know Robertson and Sakimis, right? They like Sakimis gonna try and get better than Robertson, but they're gonna keep working harder. Obviously, Robertson's gonna like want to play more than him, so he's gonna work even harder and play the best of his game, which I think is kind of how it works. So like having a good B team is very good for the starting 11 to get them to work harder and like play better football.
Yeah, I think everyone saw the wonders that Klopp did with that one team, obviously Champions League, Premier League. But I think now we're seeing the backfire of that. Obviously last season we saw all the injuries that came, obviously overplaying and basically no rest. And now as you said there, the football's changed. You need good backups, and the players, I think some of them might be getting a bit lazy. But it will be interesting with the transfer front. Obviously, a load of these players were brought in by technical director Michael Edwards, who it was confirmed today will be leaving at the end of the season.
Yeah, I was going to
when his contract expires. For anyone that's the transfers that he done were Salah for 36 million, Van Dijk, Firmino, Joe Gomez, Sadio Mane, Wijnaldum, Matip, Robertson, Alisson, Fabinho, and Diogo Jota.
Basically, that whole team we have.
Basically, his contract is up at the end of the season, and he's confirmed that he's leaving. How big of a hit do you think that's going to be for the club, considering transfers is a problem for you guys now?
See, it can go either very north or very south. It could be obviously very good or very bad. Like now he's gone, maybe we will make more transfers and get more players that we need, or we will like invest in players, like we have been, and it'll work out. And like so, we'll get like someone that we think is going to be like Jota, and they're not, and they end up like not playing and being a waste of money, and not earning us any more money either. Like because we can't, his transfer value will then fall, and we won't make money off that. So for me, I hope it's going to go the other way, and like we're going to be able to buy players that are going to improve and hopefully stick with us for a long time, or players that improve and bigger clubs see that and think, oh yeah, we want that. We'll buy him for 20 mil and sell him for like 65, 70 mil. That's how I hope it'll go. But how it
Obviously,
will go, I don't know.
he's got good judgment, obviously, with the players that brought in. Salah
Yeah,
was an outcast kind of from Chelsea, went to Fiorentina and did brilliant, and then came obviously to Liverpool. Van Dijk to be able to win that deal. Joel Matip as well, like one that's was kind of an average player and has become fairly good at what he does and reliable. Getting the Jota deal done, Alisson, Fabinho. So it's really interesting what he's managed to do, and I think it will have an impact on the club. But as you said, we'll have to see whether that's positive or negative. It's been announced he's going to be replaced by the current assistant sporting director, Julian Ward. Do you think that it's going to help the club to follow the same direction? He already knows the ropes, so I imagine he'd stick to the same way that Michael Edwards is doing it. Do you think that's going to be good, or do you think the club would be better off with a fresh approach to transfers?
I'd like to see a fresh approach to transfers because I think at the club, if we want to improve and stick in top four champions, the league, like title defenders, and try to win the title like in the first place, I think we need to change everything up, not just one thing, because we're not signing players at the moment, which is not what we want. Like we signed one centre back in the season in the transfer window, and it's not done much for us. We don't play him often, so I feel like if we just get a whole new approach to it, it might actually help us improve. I don't know. It's a very sticky one. I wouldn't mind. I don't mind the fact that we like sticking with the same. We might be sticking with the same thing because it would work. It worked before. Whether it works again, we'd have to wait and see.
It will be interesting. Obviously, I think the approach that you've got at the moment is let's hope that there's someone out there that's good that we can make even better. Whereas maybe, obviously, to try and pay less, but I think maybe you're going to have to go. We need to get someone who is good, who can still be really good, to challenge for the big players. It'll be interesting to see whether you guys go for Haaland with his £60 million, because that is cheap for Haaland.
For Haaland, 100%.
Obviously, City will be interested. I imagine Chelsea would also be interested.
City, they cannot afford.
Well, they say that. So it'll be interesting to see whether you guys are going for that. Because would you think that would be?
I mean, Newcastle could be in the shout.
Do you think Haaland would be a good transfer? Obviously, we know he's an amazing player, but do you think he would fit into your way of playing? Obviously, he would take over from Salah as the main man.
See, as much as I'd love to have Haaland in Liverpool, don't get me wrong, but is he actually going to be a good signing for us? Like you're saying, I don't think so. Because he's a striker. He's a striker. We already have two strikers. That makes a third. That doesn't help us in any way because he's going to start. He might start, but then again, Klopp might do an ollie and not start him at all, right? And obviously Salah's going to be doing his thing. Hopefully, Mane still has no competition, so I just don't think he's what we need. I think we just do need like a winger, that can play on the left wing and compete with Mane and get him playing well again.
Yeah, it will be interesting. Also, the news coming out that apparently Steven Gerrard's set to come down to Aston Villa, club legend there. Do you think that's a good move for him management-wise? Obviously being dubbed to take over from Klopp eventually.
Yeah, like management-wise, like he's smashing it. He was smashing at Rangers, 100%. To take a step into his career, 100%, Aston Villa, it's a good move for him. Whether fans will like that or not, wouldn't know because obviously they're going to thinking, well, why does he not come to Liverpool? Because he's a Liverpool legend. He just stick with like his club. But I think if he wants to upgrade his managing skills, he needs to get to a club with a bit more like history, who plays better football in like one of the top leagues in the world. You know.
Yeah.
So I think it's a very good move for him. And hopefully, fingers crossed, he does well. Like for him, it does well. But obviously not as well as I want Liverpool to do. But I think it's very sticky. Yeah.
It's going to be interesting. We've seen lots of obviously managerial changes, and Klopp's nowhere near any of that. But we know that Klopp, when his contract's up to 2024, so like 2 seasons away. Again, that's around when like Mane and Salah and all that are meant to have their contracts.
All the contracts go, yeah.
Klopp's basically said that he's going to leave, I think, and have a break from football.
Yeah.
Do you think maybe that is the point where you need to do a big drastic change? Because that means you can start afresh. You're going to have the main players. We don't know whether Salah or that will still be performing at the level that they are now in 2 or 3 years. Klopp's going to be gone, most likely. So do you think that's maybe the time where you need to have a complete refresh?
See, the problem with having a complete refresh is like you don't know how they're going to perform. I'd like to have, obviously, Robertson and Arnold will probably stay because I know they both want to stay till the end of the career. Van Dijk might still we probably still have all the players, just not playing as well as they had been. I think we need not a complete refresh, but like more of enough of a refresh to, I don't know, keep us going and like keeping the chemistry at where it is, where they all play still very well together. Because it's a very tough one for that. But if we don't make any like signings before that happens, when Klopp goes, it will be very tough for the next manager that comes in to deal with.
And we've said about transfers, and a lot of people are blaming the owners budget-wise. Do you think that the blame does fall on them, that it doesn't seem like they're providing money to support a gradual change transfer-wise to get these signings?
Yeah, with FSG, they own a lot, don't they? So it's very hard. It's probably very hard for them to like distribute the money evenly and like invest in like people or like for football or teams and clubs, etc. But like to earn them more money. But I think as Liverpool at the moment, like one of the biggest things, obviously football being the biggest sport in the world, I feel like they need to put more of their money into the football club. But I just don't think. I think some of it does rely on FSG. Some of it does rely on the players and management. Because obviously, like it's not all down to like FSG. It's not 50-50, but it does. Yeah, the blame does fall on them, but not. I don't think as much as people say it does.
Yeah, I understand what you mean there. So that's all we've got time for today. Thank you everybody for listening to this special on Liverpool. If you're watching on YouTube, then make sure to like the video and subscribe and turn on the notification bell, which now works for some reason. I don't know why it wasn't before, but it now works. If you're listening on Apple, Spotify, or any other podcast platform, then please make sure to follow us on there to stay up to date with all our new episodes. Thank you for listening. That was the final whistle.